Hola mis que tal, soy Ciela Faye, bienvenido a mi canal. So this is a video that I've gotten a lot of comments about, and it is how do you keep your hair from smelling like the flat iron or even having that burnt smell if you straighten it. So these are some of the things that I do that helps me to not have that burnt smell in my head once I straighten it. And if you have your own personal tips that you like to do to help your hair from smelling burnt, leave them in the comment section below because I would love to try them. Bueno, nada más a decir. Pero vamos a empezar. So one of the most important things I feel like you need to take into consideration is using a good smelling shampoo and conditioner. A lot of the times our hair ends up smelling like whatever shampoo and conditioner that we've put in there. And the one that I love in terms of how it smells is the OGX Biotin and Collagen shampoo and conditioner. I used to use that very heavily. I loved using that shampoo and conditioner for the reason of the way it smelled, and I also found myself getting really good results with it. But making sure that you also deep condition with your conditioner, I feel like will even heighten the smell that you get at the end of your flat iron results, because that smell will stay heavier in the hair when you have the conditioner sitting on there for a long time. And then again, when you sit under a hooded dryer, you open up those cuticles, let the conditioner seep all the way in, it's pretty much locked in there. The next thing you need to do is use a good heat protectant, and I always talk about the Tresemme one with keratin. That's a good one, but if you want your hair to smell good, I highly recommend the Kenra blow dry spray. That will make your hair smell like you just stepped out of a salon with a fresh blow dry. And I haven't heard any negative feedback about that blow dry spray, because it also helps to speed up your blow dry time. But even if you don't necessarily have a good smelling heat protectant, still use whatever heat protectant that you have, because that's going to help with protecting the hair from the heat, which is in turn going to help with the smell that you get. However, when you are spraying that heat protectant in your hair, make sure you're doing it a few inches away from your hair. You don't want to be all up on it soaking it in the heat protectant and then flat ironing right on top of it, because you're going to hear sizzling, and I believe it does more damage than anything. You want to spray a few inches from your hair, and you want to let that sit for a few seconds to a minute, and then go ahead and flat iron your hair so that you really get the benefits of a heat protectant. So in terms of your flat iron process, you want to find a balance between the lowest setting you can go and the highest setting you can go. I always suggest that you use the setting that's right for your hair, and even if it's quote unquote a little bit higher than the norm, you want to make sure that you get your hair straight enough or you don't have to find yourself hitting it with the flat iron throughout the week. But make sure not to go any higher than that setting. So technically you want to use the lowest heat setting for yourself. That's going to help with the smell. And to find that right heat setting, it takes a lot of trial and error. For me, I'm actually going through that process because I have gotten a new flat iron, and every part of my hair is a little bit different. So some parts don't need as much heat as other parts. So I've been using a higher setting with the Babyless flat iron, and have noticed that I don't need to use such a high setting, because the flat iron that I had initially, I had to use a higher setting. I found that when I was using the higher setting with the Babyless flat iron, like I did with my previous flat iron, I was getting that burnt smell. So now that I've turned down the setting, I no longer have that smell in my hair. So this next tip is one of my favorite things to do. I mentioned this in my last how I heat train my hair, but once I finally finished flat ironing it, I like to take a paddle brush and I spray some perfume in there. But by spraying the perfume in the paddle brush as opposed to directly on your hair, when you spray it in the paddle brush, it allows the alcohol to evaporate and then just leaving you with a smell, so that way you're not causing any dryness or damage to your hair by just spraying it onto the hair itself. I also feel like spraying it directly on the hair can sometimes be a little bit too strong of a smell for the hair, and a lot of people may not like being able to smell you from a block away, which I have learned from personal experience. Spraying it on that brush and then putting it in your hair, you're going to get a really nice smell. That's going to help to even disguise a little bit of the flat iron smell if you find that you end up having a flat iron smell at the end of your flat ironing process. And then my last tip is to make sure that you're cleaning off your flat iron. Sometimes that builds up of products burns on the flat iron, and when you are transferring that onto your hair can get a smell or whatever. So the way I like to clean off my flat iron is by taking a cotton ball, putting some rubbing alcohol in there, rubbing off my flat iron once my flat iron is completely cut off and it's cooled, and then I'll go ahead and just take a dry rag and get the alcohol off, and then my flat iron is like as good as new. But yeah, those are my tips to help minimize and even prevent the flat iron smell after you straighten your hair. Again, if you have any additional tips, I would love to hear them in the comment section below. If this video helps you, please help me by liking and sharing this video because it helps me out a whole bunch. Y bueno, if you have anything you'd like me to try with my heat train hair, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do a lot of my videos based on request. Y sí, hasta el video próximo. Hasta luego.
I want to thank me for doing all this hard work.